Our lives are a string of insights, flashes of inspiration that can be the catalyst for new ideas. However, our pace of life these days means we tend to miss some of them completely. I'm Dave Hill, and I'm the host of the Simple Reflections podcast, a fortnightly series of interviews with people from all walks of life. Our conversations are an invitation to reflect on some of the simple insights my guests have had that have gone on to have a profound impact on their lives. So grab a cuppa and a biscuit, join us, slow down for a little while and see what shows up for you. Welcome to the next episode of the Simple Reflections podcast. Today I'm joined by Alf Pille. Alf is the CEO of Naturschutzverband LBV I, a conservation organisation in Bavaria, Germany, that's been running since 1909. And Alf and I first met just coming up for 3 years ago at the Three Principles Conference in London. And we had a really beautiful conversation there, and subsequently another one over Zoom at another point in time that same year. And I've always been interested in learning how business leaders, organization leaders find this understanding in their world. So I thought it'd be great to bring him along and for him to join us today. Alf, welcome. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about your organization and what you get up to.
Thanks for having me, Dave. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. It's a nature protection organization. It's one of the largest in Germany, and we try to protect biodiversity. We like 350 employees we have, and about 6,000 volunteers. So it's one of the largest in Germany.
Yeah. And in a really beautiful part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bavaria is beautiful. Thank you very much for joining me. It's lovely to have you here. I think where I'm gonna start is, how did you come across the principles, and what was it you saw in them that caught your imagination?
How did I come across it? It was I had it I think it's like 7 or 8 years ago. I had a personal crisis. Now I know where it came from because I went into the same thoughts all the time. But I started to believe, or at that point I was believing that I had to give up like my marriage, the place where I live, this organization as as the place to work, and and couldn't sleep well and things like that. And that went on for, I don't know, half a year maybe. And then my sister, who's a very good coach, she said, I know all this coaching stuff, and I'm sure it won't help you. But I know this one guy, his name is David Bennett. He's an inside out of Three Principle coach in England. I know this guy, and he does it, I don't know, 180 degrees the other way around. Try him, please. So I started talking to David, and he introduced me to the Three Principles. And what immediately happened is that I got the idea that I was stirring up the mud by having the same thinking all the time. So of course, in the beginning, I didn't get all of it, but I got this. Okay, I'm making it worse by believing it, and this somehow hit me, and it immediately resulted in sleeping not until 3:30, but until 6:30 in the morning. So, and then I started reading books, and went on doing 3P conversations, and. Yeah, so that's how I got into it.
That's cool, and thank you for sharing that. It's fascinating that that a lot of people I speak to have come into this understanding through some crunch point in their life. Me included. Now, I wasn't looking for anything. No, I was, I suppose. I was looking for, this isn't working in my mind at the moment. There must be another way. But I wasn't looking for the one thing. It was just, this showed up and like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, and provided a sort of calming element over the top of what seemed like chaos. Um, yeah. So I'm completely not surprised that it caught your imagination in that sense, because that's the angle I came at it from as well. Um, what led that understanding for you, that sort of clarity that it provided for you, um, to be something that you've brought into your day-to-day life now as a CEO?
I would have answered this question differently like a year before or 3 years before, but it's this. If I see a problem, the first thing I check is, am I hungry? Have I slept enough? Do I have to drink a glass of water or something? Before I start to taking this problem seriously.
Hmm.
So that is like, and it's not because I say, oh no, there's nothing going wrong. There might be things going wrong, but to be able to deal with it, I first check, am I in a good place right now?
Mm.
And if I'm not, I like write down the problem and put it aside, because I know I won't help now. So um, this is like one thing, to see things that look like what we call a problem um, differently, because the problem might just be through the glasses that I look at it, of course, as we know, yeah.
Mm.
Um, and then it's so complex to try to steer an organization like this, and it's very complex because we have so many volunteers, which you can't tell a volunteer. At least in Germany, it's a different volunteer culture than it is in England, I know. But you can't tell a volunteer, please do this, do that, because they do what they want in their time. So it's very, very complex, and having the clarity to accept complexity, and not having the urge to solve it, to
Mm.
be able to leave it like that. Say, okay, so this is incredibly complex. I have no idea how this will turn out. But for me, the next step is to call this person, or to drink a glass of water, or to, that's what helps me. And this is, of course, that takes out adrenaline. And yeah, so this is for me personally, this is like at this point of time, this is the
Hmm.
most important effect that I see in leading the organization.
Fantastic.
Like being not being so alert all the time. Like
Mm.
especially now in this, if you see what's going on in the world, everybody is so alert all the time. And yeah, that's many times I'm not, and that's very good for me.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I was speaking to a boxer earlier in the week, who was caught up in his mind about something, and what I've found to be really, really helpful with this understanding is the use of analogy, and putting something in someone else's own world that they might understand what we're talking about from their perspective, having experienced something like it themselves. And you'd have thought, being a boxer in a ring, you'd want to be completely alert and ready for anything. But what that tends to show up like is holding yourself tightly, and therefore not able to respond as best as you could, versus being comfortable with your skill and relaxed to roll with whatever's thrown in your direction. And he just giggled at that because he saw the truth in how he's got caught up in the ring before and it's hurt, and how he's been up against people that on paper are better than him, but in his mind he was more relaxed than they were, and he's triumphed as a result. And I said, well, that's exactly the same here. It's just the ring is different and the gloves are different. And yeah, that's that is the beauty of what it is we're talking about, because it allows us to step away from the responsibility of hypervigilance.
Yes.
When things feel stressful and chaotic, it feels like we should be on complete alert all the time,
Yes.
which is not possible to maintain. It's
No. It results in a high stress level,
mm,
which makes you sleep worse and all that. We know all that results from high stress levels. And do you know I've been a boxer? No,
I
that
didn't
just
know that.
came. Oh, okay. So,
There we go.
so yeah, there we go. Exactly. And it's the exact same experience
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like that very much.
Yeah, yeah. That's that I see being able to get into someone else's world in a way that allows me to speak on their terms in their language, albeit normally from a very thin veneer, but at least create scenarios that they can relate to, is a really, really helpful way to bring them back into this conversation when they're getting in their head about it, or they're getting in their head about whatever is going on in their world that looks complex and unsolvable, and spins their wheels, I suppose. So no, it's the beauty of and the freedom that the principles give me to be able to do that, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Very cool.
So that's seeing it at the bird's eye view as CEO, how it shows up for you in your world personally leading the organization. How would you say you showing up from that space has benefited the organization, both your direct reports, but also the sort of trickle down throughout the whole, you know, you know, was it 6,000 you said?
But including the volunteers, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um, People ask me, how can you be so calm even in crisis situations? And so that definitely has an effect, because that's what I like when we talk with your experience in the army. It's like people look, what's the leading person? What do they do? And so that has an effect. But then also in problem solving, in project management, digitalization, whatever it is, to be able to kind of to lean back to have a sense, or to try to feel the situation, feel the other people,
Hmm.
while you're talking about something that really needs a lot of head space, so that, well, it's just my view, of course, but that if we sit with some people and talk about something really complicated, there's always a very nice feeling between us,
Mm.
even if there's controversial opinions about it. Or so what I maybe want to say is that seeing other individuals as perfect human beings, no matter how they behave in that moment,
Mm.
in my experience, it lays out a feeling of high security, of safety within the organization.
Mm.
And to me, that's like the basic for everybody to thrive within the organization.
Mm.
And we can have like a perfect IT setup and everything, but if people don't thrive, if people don't like to work here, um, then they won't be at their best.
Mm. Yeah, I think most people will be able to relate to that. You know, on paper, everything looks like it should work, but the feeling isn't there, and people don't perform at their best because they're not feeling it. And the interesting thing in that situation normally is, well, I need to leave this organization because that's what's causing this feeling within me, rather than realizing that that feeling is being created within me. How can we change that? And and experience that differently, which might not mean leaving the organization and just seeing, right, okay, if I show up differently, what will that do?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. That's cool.
And that, I mean, that doesn't mean that you shift problems towards the employees, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
not. No, it's the opposite. Um, but it's trying to create a space where everybody can thrive, even if some might have problems at home or in other parts of their life. But to and that's okay. And then sometimes they're occupied with, or we all are occupied with, thinking going on, and we are not at our best. But that's okay, even to see that and to see, okay, that behavior now is not like 100%, and it might not even be 50%, but that's okay. We
Mm,
are all like that. Um, this is, I think it's good for everybody, but for me, especially as the CEO, it's okay. This person is perfect. He or she just behaves, in a way that's not the best, but that's
mm.
okay. We all
Yeah,
do so.
yeah. We all do at times. Um, yeah, bringing it back to a boxing analogy, I suppose it's knowing that we have the skills that we have when we step in the ring, but knowing that we've got bruised ribs at the moment, and there's going to be an element of needing to try and protect those, and also knowing that someone else is going to be trying to attack those. Um,
Very nice. I like that.
uh, but it doesn't stop us being able to perform.
Yeah.
If we get in our head about it, we're more likely to become unstuck. But if we just go into it accepting it for what it is, and that was going to be a bit of pain, but that we can do our best, and that's all we can do,
Yeah.
then the game has changed in our mind, and we've got more opportunity to thrive. And
Yes.
thriving is something everybody deserves,
Yeah.
um, and is available to them at all times, but for the thinking they're having in the moment. And I love being able to open people's eyes up to the fact that they have the capacity to thrive in any moment.
Mhm.
Um, it's become the sort of central part of my business, I suppose. Um, but it seems like such a lofty thing. Thriving looks like the sort of pinnacle of stuff. I just want to survive comfortably, please. You can do that, but you can also thrive as well at the same time, despite all the noise and the chaos.
Yeah. And I mean, you might lose the game, you step into the ring and, mm, but so what's so bad about that?
Mm.
It's just another experience.
Yeah. And something to learn from.
That's something probably that just came to my mind some days ago. That the three principles brought to me is that if I make this experience I had a complete Waterloo moment. I tried or I joined a choir, and everybody was singing. I was new at it and I wasn't that good, and suddenly the teacher, she stopped it and said, "Sorry, Alf, do you know what you have to sing?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'm not so sure about it." And she said, "Okay, let's just try this." And I had to sing, everybody was sitting there, like 50 people, looking at me, listening, hearing that I was like completely wrong. And the whole evening for 1.5 hours, we had always had these moments where I was like completely blank. It was so. I started looking at the watch like after 10 minutes and was still 1.5 hours to go. It was complete. I don't know if you say it like that. It was Waterloo for me, and started sweating everything. And 2 hours later, it was just another experience. So it wasn't at all connected to me or to me as Alf or as who I am. It was just another experience, and that is new to me. From then on, I really tried to learn it, and in the end, when we had the concert, it was okay, and but it was just another experience. Like that's what life is for, right? That's what we are here for, to make experiences. And
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean not to take it seriously or not to prepare, but it's just kind of, I lost my face, and so what?
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. And among the rest of the choir, there would have been people that might have been judging, but most people would have been just listening, and some people would have been listening with deep compassion. Um,
Probably, yes.
yeah, and everything, and all the other things in the middle. Some of them might have been going, "I'm getting a break." Some of them might have been getting annoyed at the fact that I came here to sing and I'm not. Um, but all of those individual experiences are being created by the individual and has nothing to do with what's actually going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mad. It is mad and also wonderful at the same time.
yeah, yeah. And so probably just comes to my mind now, even if we make mistakes as an organization, um, it's like also consequences might be bigger. Um, it's not that oh, now world is ending. It's just, okay, what can we learn from it? How can we go on? How can we prevent that this happens next time? And doesn't matter who made the mistake. What can we do? How can we learn? And so that's I think that's good for an organization too, to know that mistakes happen, and we are human beings. We all make mistakes, or we yeah we do things that afterwards we call a mistake.
Mhm.
And yeah, so what actually?
Yeah, some of the craziest things that we take for granted today are born from mistakes. Just thinking of the post-it note. The the glue for a post-it note. The guy does, or the team designing that were trying to make the strongest glue ever, and they made the weakest glue ever. But from that, uh, an idea was born
Yeah.
that everybody uses almost daily. So there are lessons in everything if we're up for it. And I was speaking to a friend who works for an engineering firm here in the UK, and he said we've got a really lovely culture here. It's about failing fast and learning. And he said that his boss just came to say, "Look, I I have no doubt you're going to do your very best at everything you do, but I also know that you're not going to get it right all the time, and that's fine. Um, just if things aren't going to go, if things don't go well, learn from it quickly and move on, because that's how, as an organization, we get stronger. um, I've worked in a few organizations where that's not been the case, and everybody's
Mhm.
trying to hide errors because they're worried about the consequences of those, um, but that running through the whole organization. um, so it's lovely to hear not only the leadership within your own organization, but knowing that there are other organizations all over the planet that have that mindset of we are doing the best we can all the time, and things are, life is going to get in the way, stuff is going to happen, and we will deal with that. It might
Yeah.
not be ideal, but we will deal with that and we'll move on, and it will be a moment in time that
Yeah.
that won't define us in that sense.
And I like that we're all doing the best we can, because we all do all the time. And that's even if from the outside or afterwards we'll say, oh, this was a bit stupid. But no one ever behaves worse than he could. And I like that. This also something I got out of the three principles is this knowing everybody behaves the best he can. And even if we from the outside think, say that was just wrong, but for the person itself, it was the best thing in the moment, giving thinking the head. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. What would you say has been the biggest surprise to you, having come across this understanding and seeing how it's unfolded in your life? What's been the thing that's really, yeah, really been a surprise for you?
Like from the 1,000 biggest insights I ever had, like the one, you mean?
Well, you don't have to be that specific. Just something that just go, oh wow, okay, that one, and it might have been different yesterday, it might be different tomorrow, but the one you sat here today, what feels like the most surprising thing for you?
That's really a hard question, because what I realize, oh, maybe that is the answer. What I realize is that I'm having insights all the time, like fundamental ones, like yeah, like joining that choir, like without a friend or ever. I just went there on my own,
Uh-huh.
and I wouldn't have done that in older days. And it's not only doing that, but then afterwards saying, "Oh, I've done that. I wouldn't have done that 3 years before." So it's this. Maybe that's like the meta answer to the question.
Uh-huh.
Is like that these insights keep coming all the time, and I think it's like I have a feeling of getting rid of concrete walls in my head,
Mm.
and when I think, oh, now there's no wall anymore, then I suddenly see another one breaking down, which I haven't recognized it was a wall.
Yeah.
And so maybe that is the biggest thing. And then this applies to like every part of life.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
That's a
the
beautiful
answer.
answer. Yeah, it's a beautiful answer. Um, yeah, I remember when I first started learning about this 8 years ago and sat in a room with people who were talking about insights. What is that? Um,
Yeah,
uh, uh, I thought, okay, well, how do you know when you've had one? What does that look like? And then at some point that wall fell away and it just became, oh, right. No, it's just a fresh thought. That's all it is.
yeah,
It's a fresh thought that feels really comfortable and at home and makes sense. Um, and that it's the best thing that's serving me right now. And it might be wrong. I might see it differently in a minute, or 5 minutes, or a year's time, and that's okay. That's just another layer of the onion unpeeling, or the wall falling down, or another
yeah.
blind spot uncovered and identified. And yeah, it's a fun world to be in when you know that there is always more to see. Um, it gets exciting.
Yeah, isn't it? And yeah, there's so many things to learn. And I mean, we as an NGO, we deal with like a challenge that is even bigger than climate change, with it like loss of biodiversity. So if you look at it from a scientific view, it's like a black future. And but I couldn't, sometimes I dive into that, and that really gives me a bad bad mood. Um, I couldn't do my work looking at that all the time. But seeing there are so many possibilities if we don't look at it through black glasses.
Mhm.
If we see, how we humans have been able to solve so many challenges, and how could we, get a grip on this one? This is like a completely different mindset, or a complete different way to look at it, and then knowing that everybody has insights all the time, why shouldn't we get a grip on biodiversity loss? We don't know yet, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm just, hoping for some better future. No, this is based on like seeing that we all have insights all the time.
Yeah. 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 8 billion insight machines on the planet wandering around the place.
Exactly.
And some of those ideas will already be, exist in people's minds. They just haven't shared them yet.
Yes.
Or they won't have, seen the potential in their thought,
Yeah.
or are too shy to share it.
Yeah.
Who would listen to me? I think one of the beauties of being a coach is having that bird's eye view, in a sense, not being as invested in the conversation as the other party or the other people involved in it. And one, being able to spot when someone's had an insight because they just light up in a way that's just a beautiful thing to see, and being able to call that out and going, right, what just happened there? Let's talk about that. That is the most important thing in the room at the moment. But secondly, being able to join the dots a bit and go, ooh, something you've just said chimes with something I heard over there. Let's make a connection and see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
and that is such a wonderful thing to be able to do, because I've got no part in it other than seeing a potential connection, joining them up and letting them run and seeing what happens. And I have no idea uh, where that's going to go and how that's going to unfold. But I do know that when people are coming at it from a point of curiosity and possibility, all bets are off. Who knows what can be created. And it's just mind blowing.
Yeah. And it's like it's like mind, working through you. That's great. That's really
Mm.
cool.
Yeah. The more I look at it, the more I see that every single one of us is the essence of the universe. Um, that we have the capacity with our thinking to create separation and see things as separate, but we are part of an enormous, great big whole system, um, and we're just a tiny, weeny little bit of it. Now we've created quite an important part of our story as a species on the planet, and the impact that that's having. But in the grand scheme of the universe, that is inconsequential. Um, it just is an impact in our little corner of it. Um, when when people start realizing that for themselves, that seriousness you were talking about at the beginning ceases to exist, because we're the ones creating it.
Yeah.
And when we see things less seriously, we hold them less tightly, back to that boxing analogy, and we're able to tap into all of the potential that does exist and
Mhm.
see, and yeah, I'm just in awe of that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's like for me now, spring is coming soon. And so, it's just all trees, no leaves. And then if you compare to summer, like where it's everything green, and or if you have devastated land after a forest fire, and then like 5 years later, it's like green forest again. This power is so amazing. It's just life, mind, whatever you want to call it. That's and we are part of it. We're just the same. We're exactly just the same.
Yeah.
And it's good to know, because it's always good to know to be part of a big power.
Yeah.
The playing field or whatever you play, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So what's next on the horizon for you guys, Alf?
It as an organization, you mean?
Yeah, I suppose so. Answer it however it sits.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like we have this political changes in the world right now, everything going crazy, and so this of course has an effect even on a regionally working nature protection organization. So we have to deal with that somehow. And then it's of course things like AI that we of course have to use to make better nature protection. But also and more important, through the eyes of the CEO, is to keep that, to hold that safe space for people to come here and work 8 hours a day or however how much they and to give a space for people to do something good, even though the world is going crazy.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it's I stopped making plans and setting goals for myself because they are so narrow-minded compared to what life brings. So I just try to be open, and so the next acquire experience will come around. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, and I know you'll sing your heart out, whether it's acquire or not.
Exactly.
Alf, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with you and hear what you're up to and share some of your experiences with the principals. It's been really, really lovely to see you.
Thanks very much, Dave. Very nice conversation. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. Just to let you know, I've got a few slots for coaching packages coming up both in April and May. If you are interested in looking at working with me, please just drop me an email. The details are in the show notes, or book a quick call. Anyway, take care. All the best.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the conversation, feel free to subscribe and join me and my new guest next time. If you're interested in the work I'm doing, or you think I can be of service to you or your organisation, please email dave@simplicityofmind.co.uk. Remember, see if you can find time to slow down and reflect. Those simple ideas might be worth listening to. Take care, and I hope you can join me in a couple of weeks.